everyone, and welcome to Grandma's Corner. This is the very first edition, and I have a special guest here with me. Her name is Idara, and she's my granddaughter. Idara, welcome to Grandma's Corner.
Hello.
This is my granddaughter, Idara. Idara, will you tell young friends something about yourself?
Hi, so I'm Idara. I live here in the US. I'm here. I go to university. I'm studying business in university. I'm 18 years old, and I'm excited to be here on Young Friend.
Really, really nice. Okay, so the whole purpose of Grandma's Corner is just to share with other teenagers, and who better to start with than my very own granddaughter. I love you, sweetheart.
Oh, I love you too.
Now, Idara, there's so many things that are going on with teenagers today, but I'll start off like this. Would you tell us what a typical day in your life is like?
Well, for me, I'm in school and I also work a job. So normally I'll wake up and I'll go to whatever class I have for the day. My university is about 35 minutes away, so I'll make my drive to the university. I'll go to my classes for the day, I'll eat lunch there, and then I normally come home for a couple hours and then I'll get ready to go to work. I work at nights, normally at around 5. And then I'll work until about 10, and then I'll come home and just relax for the rest of the night. Unless it's like a Wednesday or a Friday, then after school I'll go to church. So we have our Wednesday service and then our youth on Friday night. So that's normally what the day would look like for me.
Well, it sounds pretty full. Is that every day, Monday through Friday?
Well, on Mondays and through Thursdays, I have class. And then on Fridays, I normally don't have class, so I work like afternoon shifts. But then during Friday nights, I'll go to youth at my church, which is very fun to go to.
Okay, what do you do at church?
Well, on our youth nights, we have all kinds of fun activities. Sometimes we'll have youth services, sometimes we'll go out to different places, or we'll just stay in the church and play games. It's just really fun, fellowship and things like that.
Oh, it does sound nice. Um, Idara, there's so much going on in the world among teenagers, and you get to hear of them taking drugs, of baby mamas, and is it baby daddies? And
Yeah, I mean both.
and different things like that. What are your thoughts on it?
I think in today's world, people try to find sort of an escape in these sorts of things. So since if people don't have, like, for example, as a Christian, um if I tend to have problems, I'll go to God about it. But for those who don't believe, or for those who are non-Christians, they have to find sort of an escape in other things. So many people will turn to drugs or alcohol or many of these other things to try and fill that sort of emptiness inside of them. So I believe that's where sort of this rise in these kinds of things you see, because life just gets harder and harder, and so these teenagers are finding all these things that will make them happy, but it normally doesn't, and it just tends to make things worse. So I think that's sort of where these issues are arising from.
Hmm. How can we make a difference? How can you make a difference? And how are you really able to separate yourself from these types of things?
Well, I think as far as the separation goes, um, you have to make it known where you stand, who you are. So all the people I hang around with, even my friends.
I'm going to stop you there for a moment. Sorry. Who are you? Because you said you've got to make a stand, know who you are. So who are you?
Well, for me, I place my identity in Jesus. God is my foundation. That is what I've been raised in, and that's what I know to be true. So even if you might not know all the aspects about your own personality, or as a teenager, we're still growing up, we're still learning ourselves, we're still figuring things out. And even myself, I don't know everything about who I am and all that sort of thing, but I know for sure where my foundation is. And I feel that's the most important part. You need to have the solid foundation in Jesus. That's what he is there for, and that's what will help you along your way to finding who you are in life, is having Jesus as your foundation.
Would you say you've discovered purpose? Have you any idea why you're here?
I feel to a certain extent, possibly, but I think that's a lot of things. That's something that I, as well as other teenagers, tend to struggle with, is especially in today's society, there's so much pressure on knowing exactly who you are, exactly what you're going to do from such a young age. Here in the US, you start doing college applications when you're a senior in high school. And in order to make these applications
Sorry,
to
what age is that?
a senior high school is 17, 18 years old. So I'm 18 years old. I graduated high school at 17, so now I turned 18. Um, so you're applying to colleges then. In order to know what college you want to apply to and what programs you want to get into, from years back, you have to know sort of an idea of what you want to do. So there is a big pressure placed on young people to sort of have it all planned out. And I think that kind of that can place a pressure um when really we're so young. We have so much more time to discover who we are, the things we like, the things we want to do in our lives. And so for me personally, I feel to an extent I know the things I like, I know the things I'm passionate about. I sort of have a general idea of the things I want to do, but um I don't think I've yet found what exactly I want to do with my whole life. And I think that's something that young people need to remember, is that teenagers, we're still so young. We still have so much time to figure out these things. There are people who start businesses in their 30s and 40s and become successful after that. So I
Right.
feel as though, yes, it's important to know what you want to do as soon as possible, but there's no stress. There's no rush to do these things. You still have, by God's grace, a beautiful long life to live and figure these things out.
You've put everything really well. And I do feel for you. I'm not sure if I knew what I wanted to do at your age, but then I got married to grandpa when I was just 18, and you're 18. So can you imagine? Even I can't imagine you being married. And I had your dad just before my 19th birthday. So, oh, wow, it's really, really funny. Anyway, you mentioned some things you're passionate about. What are you passionate about?
I think one of the things that I really love is music. I've always loved music, listening to music, playing music, making music. I hope one day I'll be able to make my own music and publish that and that sort of thing. I
I'd
think
love
that was
that.
really cool. So I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
Sarah, would you sing something for us now?
Oh my goodness.
Go on.
Oh,
Just
what
a
would you
little,
like
just a
to
couple of
sing?
lines. Anything nice. Remember, you're singing for young friends.
Wow. Well, let's see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
I love it. I love it. That's so
Oh,
beautiful,
thank
honestly.
you.
Oh, and you do that on the spur of the moment. That is nice. And you play instruments, don't you?
Yes, yes.
Which ones?
I play the piano. That's mainly the instrument I play, and then I know like the basics of the flute, so I play that sometimes. But it's mainly the piano that I play. I would love to learn all kinds of instruments, though. I want to learn so many.
Yeah, I thought you played the guitar, a little of the guitar, no?
I did. I took a guitar class for a year at school, but that was a while ago, and I haven't really practiced a lot of that. I would love to get back into it though. But yeah, I did know the basics a little bit, a little.
You know, I really love it that you have a beautiful singing voice. I don't sing very well, and I've become so, or I became so shy about singing when I was in primary school, and we were all rehearsing for an end of year. About this time of year, December, we were practicing for a school play, and we were, or not a school play, a school Christmas concert, and we were practicing all these Christmas carols. And the teacher suddenly stopped us and said, "Someone is singing out of tune." And the person on my left said it's Taira, and the person on my right said it's Taira. And the
Ah.
teacher asked me to step out.
Oh
And I was
no.
so embarrassed. And from that
Oh.
time, I stopped singing in public. So the only
Oh.
thing that made me start singing again was when I had my children, your daddy,
Mhm.
and I started, I would sing to them. That's all. But, so do you think that the teacher handled it right? What do
I
you think?
don't think so.
Should I have been left to continue? You can sing. You have such a lovely voice. Is it called sultry? It's really, really nice.
Oh.
But I wondered, music conductor, this lady who used to conduct music at church, said everyone can sing. You just have to find your right, is it tone or something? Is that right?
I believe I think people definitely have different abilities than others. I don't necessarily think every person is suited for singing. Not that every not that every person has to have the most beautiful voice in the world, but some people and I don't mean you, not at all you, but there
Oh,
are some people who they and it's just how their brains work. It literally is just how their brains work. Have trouble finding the tune and keeping the tune, which is no fault of theirs. It's something they can't control. But I think it definitely can be worked on. There is a lot of things you can do to combat this, and you can work on it. But that for certain people, it'll take more work than others. I think personally.
I think it just boils down to the particular gifts that we have.
I agree.
And you, for you, singing is a gift that you're given, and it can serve as a pointer to your purpose. I mean, definitely. I was almost moved to tears while you were singing that, and you were
Oh,
this here or anything. And I know I do have gifts, and I appreciate those. And those are the ones that I make use. I'm good at counseling, at teaching, motivating people, encouraging people, hugging people. So, I think everyone has different gifts. So to that teacher, I don't know. She wanted to make sure that the whole choir, the whole Christmas carol service, whatever it was, went well. And if it meant taking me out, so be it. Absolutely.
I would have given you another chance.
Anyway, Idara, so it seems like you at least you're putting your passion to work in church, right? So
Yeah.
what about circles of friends? Where who are your friends? Have you got friends? Are you popular? Would you say you're popular?
I guess you could say that. I think just with my personality, I tend to you know, at least be friendly with everyone that I meet. There
That's
I can't think of anyone who necessarily dislikes me, which is a a lot of people can't say that, so I take that as a blessing from God. Um
it. It is.
I
The word of God says that you'll be so blessed and everything will be, God will have his hand on your life so that even your enemies will be forced to be at peace with you. So,
mhm.
you know, and besides, there's this light that is in you. I see it. I know it. Not because you're my granddaughter, but I see it there and it draws people. So that's a beautiful thing. So tell me about your friends.
I think my closest circle of friends is definitely my church friends. They're the people I've grown up with. We have youth every Friday. We hang out outside of church all the time. I'd say those are my closest friends, and then I have other close friends from school and work and that those kinds of things. I think my job is a very unique sort of job. Even though I work in fast food. And even though I work in fast food, I think the specific environment that I work in, everyone is just so much more friendly than you would a normal place. Like everyone hangs out with each other. Everyone genuinely is friends with each other. Like in a few days, I'm going to a Christmas party at my job, and everyone's going to be there because like we like hanging out with each other. So I think um, I'm blessed to be able to be around a circle of people just in general that are friendly and kind and enjoy each other's company.
Is everyone that you're friends with a believer? Is there
No,
anyone you can point to and say, "Oh, they're not a Christian"? No, not everyone.
yeah, I
So,
have all kinds of friends.
oh, that's nice. And how do you cope? How do you handle it?
Um, well,
We've all got the Great Commission, right?
right,
So we're
right.
meant to spread the gospel and all that. So, do you preach to these unbelieving friends or?
Um, I wouldn't say I preach. I um within my friends that are unbelievers, I try to show Christ in my actions, in the way I talk, in the way I dress, in the way I act. I try to be kind, I try to be friendly, and I try to just show kindness and love. And I think that is one of the better ways when you're just in a casual group of people. If I'm at work and we're all just doing our jobs, um, people aren't going to want to sit down and hear a sermon right then, right? So my way of showing in that situation is just through my actions and through my kindness. That's how we show Jesus. We show God within us by our actions. And so I believe that is a very important way of how to witness to people is through your actions and how in your speech.
I agree. Even the word of God says that when you show love to others, it's showing that you're my disciples. When you love one another, it shows that you're my disciples. So you're right, and we are all his ambassadors. Now, what do you think about the fashion trends today?
Um, I think I think from the perspective of an unbeliever, I can understand why people do dress the way they dress. If they have no standard to set, there's no like if you think about it, right? You don't believe in these things. To you, this doesn't mean anything. So of course you're gonna dress however you want. And I can completely understand that because if I was in that situation where there's no higher authority telling me what I need to do, then I'm gonna do what I think I want to do. From a Christian standpoint, I think that obviously not everything that's going on today is in line with what the Bible teaches. And so in that case, I
Even
just
sorry to interrupt. When you say from a Christian standpoint, do you mean even within the body of Christ, or are you speaking about the world in general?
I guess that does bring up a good point because um yes, there's the world, and I guess that leans more into the they don't believe, so why not do what you want? And then I guess there is another conversation about how people who profess Christ then also dress. Because there has been a coming viewpoint where people tend to pick and choose the things that they want to believe from the Bible, and then they try to leave other things out sort of to suit their tastes. And so, and I do believe to an extent that modesty is your own conviction to an extent, but I
Yeah.
believe to another extent, we shouldn't be wearing booty shorts and bras out in public, right? There is a certain level of modesty that needs to be kept, even if, you know, maybe you want to wear a pair of jeans. That might be one person's conviction and not another, and that's totally fine. But there's a certain level that I believe that as a Christ follower, we need to like stand by. Modesty is moderation. I think people take the word modesty in a wrong way. Modesty simply means moderation. So, not necessarily that you need to be clothed from head to toe and not have a single bit of skin showing, because that's not moderation. That's excessiveness. In moderation would just be, instead of wearing itty bitty shorts and a top this big, you just wear a plain t shirt and whatever else, not necessarily either extreme. It's in moderation. So that's what I believe as far as that goes.
Have you ever been bullied or picked on for dressing in a modest manner?
I have not personally. I know a lot of people who have, and then who's to say people don't say things not to my face. But I believe as far as the people I surround myself with, they tend to be very understanding. Um in everyday life, people tend to be a lot more understanding and respectful than one might go about to think. I personally don't wear pants. I only wear skirts that typically go to my knee or longer. And that's one of the things that people notice about me. And I actually tend to get a lot of compliments about it, about how I tend to style things, because there's a way to dress modestly and still be in style and be trendy and all these sorts of things. So I actually tend to get compliments a lot about the way I dress. And as long as you are not making people feel like you're looking down on them, people tend to not have a problem with it. Like, it doesn't affect them, so they tend to not really mind it.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you, so what's the reaction of boys to the way you dress? Because I don't know, sometimes I feel that a lot of young girls, they dress in a particular manner with the intention of attracting the opposite sex.
Mhm.
Uh, so, and then again, I wonder because I went to have a haircut today, and the barber who was cutting my hair, he he was speaking about to one of the other male hairstylists about a particular girl that they both seemed to know. I just happened to overhear the conversation, and apparently she was going out. He had seen her earlier in the day in a pair of short shorts,
Mhm.
and he was saying to the other one, so has this girl opted to go to the streets now? Is she now out on the
Mhm.
streets? That he saw her first thing this morning and she was in a pair of short shorts and had her hair bone straight. I remember that expression, and
Mhm.
talking about how loud her makeup was. And, I felt a little sad. They were not speaking about her, even they did not seem to be admiring her, because what he was asking the other guy is, have you seen so and so lately? So what, has she decided to go out on the streets? And I felt sad. So now I want to know if these particular people, guys, were not admiring this girl or were not in favor of the way she dressed, how do they react? How do boys react to the way you dress? Have you had, do you have complaints or what sort of comments?
I think for me personally, I haven't had like any sort of comments directly to me, but I have seen like obviously on the internet commentary and things online. I think there's a point where like it really depends on who you're talking to. So it depends on what these people are looking for. So if you're talking to somebody, a man who tends to want to get around a lot, that's sort of what they're talking about. The gentleman you were talking about were probably describing this lady because the type of people that she tends to attract, whether she's intending for it or not, is the type of person who doesn't want commitment, who doesn't want um, any kind of stability. They're attracted to what they see and then they get it and then they go. So I think to an extent, I think it's another one of those moderation things. Like, I think obviously, like I said, it's not to say whether that's what she wanted or that or whatever. That's not a fault. Like, it is what it is. But to an extent, that's still what's being attracted, even if that's not your intention. So I think it really just depends on the mindset of the person you're talking about. Because if you then talk to someone who would want a more committed relationship or things like that, um, they probably would not go for people who on a regular basis are dressing like that. They probably go for somebody with a more modest style. And again, I'm using modest to mean moderation, not necessarily um, covered from head to toe. So I think it depends on who you're talking to and what sort of audience you're looking for in that case.
Okay, Idara, I've put together a few, I don't know whether to call them questions or just topics that I'd just like you to give short, sharp responses to. Okay, and the first one goes like this. What's the hardest thing you've had to face as a teenager or as a youth?
I think making it through my education, my high school years, the program I was in was very difficult, and I had to work very hard to get through that.
But you did it, didn't you?
Yes.
High five. Okay. Greatest temptation that you have had to face?
I think that would be giving up before I'm finished with what I'm doing, not putting in my full effort when I know that I could do my best. I think that would be it.
Okay. How did you find the strength to continue when you felt like giving up?
I think the people that surrounded me, my parents, everyone's sort of encouraging me and helping me see the bigger picture at the end that I'm working towards.
That's good. I'm happy that you listened. Let's see. Have you ever been betrayed in a friendship?
I personally haven't, but I know a lot of people who have, and it can be a very difficult thing to have to go through.
Oh. Have you ever been disappointed in yourself?
Yes, I would say I have. When I know that I haven't necessarily done the best job that I could have, I might have completed the task or done what I needed to do, but I know I could do better, which can be disappointing in myself.
Okay. What's your weakness, your biggest weakness?
I think that would be overthinking. I would think about things so much and in so much detail that I tend to overcomplicate things, which messes things up. Something that could be so simple ended up becoming so complicated for no reason.
So how do you think you can put a stop to that? Do you ever check?
I think it's one of the things I'm still working through. I haven't necessarily found a solution to it, but it's definitely something that I've been trying to work towards and try to keep under wraps.
And your biggest strength?
I think that would be the people around me. I have very good support around me. My friends support me, my family supports me in everything that I do. So I think that is a big contributor to how far I've been able to come.
Great. That's beautiful. Let's see. The toughest choice you have had to make.
I think that would probably be whether or not to stay in the high school program that I was in. There was a time where I was debating whether I should stay in it or leave it. I did end up choosing to stay, and though it was very difficult and it came with a lot of rough patches, I think that ended up being the best for me as far as the education that I'm now pursuing and things like that.
Okay, so would you say that the toughest choice you had to make turned out to be the best decision that you made because you made that tough choice and it turned out to be your best decision?
Yeah, I think so at this point. It ended up being the right decision for me and ended up um, opening a lot of doors for opportunities that I have now. So I believe so.
It reminds me of a poem that I heard long about. What is it? Stick to your task till it sticks to you. Beginners are many, but enders are few. And it goes on like that. So that's really good. And then this is going to be a final one. What's your relationship with God like? What's your prayer life like? How important is it to you?
That's one of the things that is most important to me. I strive to pray every day, read my Bible every day. Sometimes, especially with the Bible reading, it's something I need to work on, reading it more, and studying it more. I think that's something that a lot of people tend to struggle with is finding times within their busy day to do these things. And that's something that I need to try my best to make a bigger priority. But I make sure to always keep God first, always going to church, always being involved. And I think having that community that surrounds you is also very important. Having people that think like-minded towards you is something that's very important and that I am blessed to be able to have.
And you know what, Idara? I'm really blessed to have you as a granddaughter. I love you dearly. And it has been a great honor having you as my first guest on Grandma's Corner. Thanks
Oh,
ever so much. Love you, love you,
I
love
love
you.
you.
And a
Big
big
hug.
hug. God bless and bye-bye.
Bye.